Hi, my name is Alise Cukova. I use pronouns she, her. At my daily life, I work as an extended reality developer. I develop solutions and games for virtual reality, PCs, mobile, augmented reality, mixed reality, everything with the tech, basically. I own a game studio here in Latvia. However, we are chasing global talents. We have a very multicultural team, but mostly we are aiming to find new talents here in Latvia and in Baltics in general. Here also I have a game development school for the teenagers. We are currently only school in Europe that actually teaches virtual reality for teens. So this is quite exciting. We've been on this journey already for many years. So for me, game development is about the future, and working with teens is also about the future, is about building it. When I started to think about making games, I thought about that games and art in general can change generations. The work with the teens is the same. I believe that it's not only about your journey as a professional, but it's also about what legacy you can leave after yourself, and about human connection and giving the chance. So not gatekeeping here the knowledge, which I think is quite a stupid thing to do. Yeah, we need to continue our journey, and the game development is a very team-oriented profession.
And you have been mentioning already different skills like competences that young people develop through game development. Like, could we put them in bullet points?
Mostly teens are getting one of the most important thing is the communication. Communication skills, you can't avoid it when you work in the game development. It's all about communication. Teamwork goes next. Then we go pitching, presentation, so it's actually knowing how to behave on stage or in front of many people. And that's getting hard. Yeah, it's a very important skill in our field. Then also goes time management. Since we are working mainly in freelance, so knowing how to navigate your time, meet the deadlines, it's very important. And also it's about self-management. But yeah, this is like the soft skills, not talking about like the hard skills like coding, design, art and that stuff, but that comes with the experience. The more you work, the more they will know. Yeah, it's obvious.
So, we've covered the skills. Moving forward, like topic-wise, what are different types of games that you help to develop? And also perhaps what are games that young people have come up with? Like, what are the usual topics or ideas that young people have or want to have?
Because they're teens, a lot of games are built around suspicious substance abuse. And for example, something happens, they use something, and then they have kind of very paranoid dreams, and they're like character in the game. For example, there was an idea that was actually the game turned out very well. So basically you enter the train, and because you had something, you start to imagine that the train is full of the zombies, and you need to save the people and save the children. And then when you get out of this paranoid dream, you find out that you've been saving like trees and like random things, and the zombies never were there because it's like an empty train. I think that it is very depends on what kind of media they consume every day, and because our game industry is currently not very, I would say, healthy. What we're trying to change, we're trying to raise more responsible game developers. But games are very, very popular of actually getting the taboos and putting it into the game world where you can experience it, because in real life it's taboo, you can't do it for a lot of reasons, And to many of the teens, adulthood is actually when you can allow yourself to do anything. So the narratives there are also questionable, especially when it's teen boys really like narratives about cowboys, about shooting, about destroying things, because I feel this is also very teenager feeling, that everything is so unfair and you want to destroy things because you can't manage your emotions. So this is kind of, you can see them kind of doing this idea, and then they see, okay, yeah, that was good, but then they move and they're like, oh, but what if we actually like make something more complex, because shooting is probably something the most easier you can make in the games. Something like harvesting, gardening, or games that have a complex mechanic, it's hard. So now teenagers see it when they first try it, and they are now chasing a little bit different goals and now they're trying to do something more complicated. And then they switch, pivot a little bit, and they start to making games that make more sense and are more tolerable and have more patience in that, and also much more complex mechanics and that stuff. And yeah.
Wow. And what would you say are perhaps like topics where you see we lack representation in game development? Like what would you like to see there more, or like?
Yeah, in games we like a lot of things, yeah. We like healthy, well, currently nowadays the games have already much healthier woman body representation and also male body representation. It seemed to be always like hyperbolics, shapes and that stuff, and very sexualized. So we are now trying to shift to the more realistic pictures, so actually people could see themselves as we are becoming aware of immersive design theory. Yes, we are actually immersing ourselves in the game worlds, and we are also experiencing a thing called embodiment, which is also connected to the philosophy of the escapism, that each of us wants to escape somewhere, and we go to the games to have this escape. And the only way how you can get the escape, if you can get embodiment session. So you can technically get inside different body mentally, yeah. So, and because of that, people, like developers, started to shift a little bit more to the more realistic shapes and figures. We still can see a lot of hyperbolic shapes and stuff, because for many reasons that we can see that are very connected to economy, politics, and everything else, unfortunately. And also the fact that still everyone says about how IT became general more available for any gender, and it's very positive and that stuff, but it's lies, yeah, it's lies. When you go to the AAA company, and game designer is actually very male dominant field, and in 45 people there's only 4 women.
No,
So,
queer people.
well, queer people, there are a lot of queers, but if you're queer, it doesn't actually mean that, this is actually a hard truth I learned, that being queer is actually doesn't mean you respect women. This was a revolutionary thing I've learned in the game industry. The power abuse is extreme, because the only thing that does matter is like representation, the masculinity and femininity. And yeah, and when you are feminine representative, it gets very hard, because people don't want to listen to you. And that happened to my trans colleagues, yeah, who are very on the spectrum of how they represent themselves, yeah. To my non-binary colleagues, that happens a lot. It doesn't matter what you have inside your pants or what pronouns you use. If you are expressing your femininity, your inner femininity, you just getting sexualized. And this is crazy, and this is why it doesn't matter if you, what kind of partner you prefer, yeah? Because if someone is, for example, masculine representative and you're feminine representative and you're the same gender, they will still feel like they have a power on you. And especially with being a queer woman, it's actually, I felt it even more. It's even went almost until the sexual harassment on the workspace. So you can see it in this big boy fields in the big companies. But this is why we are making indie companies who are more respecting, who actually care about their workers. This is what I wanted to make when I was making my company here in Latvia. I wanted to actually make indie companies that people are interested in making games and nothing else, yeah, and who can respect each other and who can listen and talk and communicate and other stuff. So yeah, it is the thing that we want to give also to the new generation, yeah. We are not just talking about teaching them how to make games, we are teaching them how to be responsible developers once again, yeah, and responsible developers are not only the ones who are making good games, yeah, with good representation, but it's also about developers who can behave on the workspace. Yeah.
Then when it comes to young people, and when it comes to young people from marginalized groups like queer people, trans, non-binary people, like who perhaps would like to start with game development, and I know from our community also that there are quite many young people who play a lot of games, and there is not enough trans, non-binary characters, for sure not, and queer characters in general. Like, what would be your invitation or your advice that if they want to start, like, that actually it can be in the end a safe space if you go to the right people in the way, like your company, for example.
Well, we're trying to be very supportive, especially to the minorities who come and join, because it can be, in my personal experience, it was very hard when I first came to the study room and I saw there is not a lot of queers in there. The more you open up, the more you talk, actually not everyone is evil, there are bad people in the world, and you will for sure meet some of them, but it's worth a try. And you see that you meet a lot of actually good people in the field who are there to support you, and with those people you'll actually build a team, you'll make the games, you'll make the art, you'll create together. And when I'm teaching in school, the teens, 16, 17 years, currently we are a very proud team of only boys, but those boys are very kind and they're very supporting. We have gay boys there who are openly gay at their young age, which is, I think they have a lot of courage, but they can be so loud and proud and not hide it, because everyone is so supportive, in our classroom we don't have a problem with actual discrimination in the workspace, because first of all I would not tolerate this, it would never slide, we even have €1 jar every time they allow themselves to say something bad. It can be any bad word, they still drop €1 in that jar, and they find a way to actually be more emotionally mature as they can at 16 years old, A lot of things come from the teacher, from the lecture. The more you make the minority feel like minority, the more it divides the class with an invisible wall that will never be breaked. And how I say, there's nothing special about us, because we're all human and we just live our lives, and I'm trying to teach teenagers that this is how it should be, You care about yourself, you care about your family, friends, and that stuff. You be a good human being, and nothing else is important, Who you love, how you address yourself. You can address yourself how you want, you can love who you want, and that won't make you less human. So come and join us. It's very safe, it's very nice, and a lot of my students said that it was the first time they actually felt normal, and I think this is the best feeling, to feel that you're at the right space with the right people and you feel normal, like nothing special is about you because you're just a human being. So Thank you.
Thank you.